morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, March 20th. It is 6 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time. And this is THG News Today with Mervyn Henley. It is such a pleasure to be with you here this morning. We have a packed program this morning, but before we get into the news, if you have not done so as yet, I must ask you to subscribe to our channel. It will just take a few seconds, not even a few seconds, 1 second to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much in advance. We present the news from around the Caribbean, and at times we will feature news from the diaspora, whether it's in Europe or America, because we believe that Caribbean nationals, you need to be informed of not just what's happening around the Caribbean, but what's happening in your neck of the woods. So we do that from time to time. And in case you're just joining us for the very first time, I must say to you that this is not your ordinary traditional news. We also offer our opinions and commentary where and when we see fit. We try our very best to be fair and balanced and respectful. Yeah? But just remember, please, to subscribe. Now we move on to our Spotlight segment. And I have to tell you about, and if you don't know what Spotlight is, we feature small and large businesses on here where I will just explain to our listeners and viewers your product or your service. And if you want your business to be included on Spotlight or THG News Today, and I don't see why not, WhatsApp us today at 1-869-667-7443. That's 1-869-667-7443. And we begin with our first spotlighter for the day, and we feature the Santal plant-based milk at Best Buy supermarkets in St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, Duggins Enterprises in St. Eustatius, and Cospro in St. Martin and Antigua. They have this milk in soy, almond, coconut, and oat. So be sure today to pick up your Santal plant-based milk. Next on Spotlight, we are in Anguilla, and this time it's Cajun Goat. Cajun Goat is a must visit. This is the newest eatery in town on Anguilla, located Lower South Hill. From their mouth-watering pastas to their delicious tacos and their miniature golf course, you have to check out Cajun Goat today or in the near future. So for you day trippers from St. Martin, or if you're living on Anguilla or you're visiting Anguilla, you have to visit Cajun Goat. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, in Spotlight for today, we have a new spotlighter, and this is no matter where in the world you are at, whether in the Caribbean, United States, Europe, from time to time you may need U.S. immigration services. Well, I have to tell you about Sadler Immigration Services in the United States. Their services include family-based petition, adjustment of status. This probably include green card, U.S. citizenship, you name it, removal of conditions, naturalization, asylum, notary. It's at Sadler Immigration Service. You must contact this immigration service because so much has changed and is changing when it comes to U.S. immigration policies. So email them today, inquiries at Sadler Immigration, SADDLER Immigration @gmail.com, or WhatsApp them at 1-267-346-2644. That's 1-267-346-2644. And those are our spotlighters for today. Now let's get right to the news. We begin this morning with news out of Jamaica. The Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP Paula Llewellyn, says her office will ask the Court of Appeal to order a retrial for Vybz Kartel and his 3 co-accused. Kartel, whose given name is Adidja Palmer, Sean Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre St. John, had their murder convictions overturned in the UK-based Privy Council last Thursday. The men were convicted in 2014 for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. They were sentenced to life in prison. In overturning their convictions, the Privy Council ruled that jury tampering and poor directions from the presiding judge resulted in a miscarriage of justice. The Privy Council has said the local Court of Appeal must determine if a retrial should be held. The DPP says her office will be guided by the law in making submissions before the Court of Appeal on the matter.
The public has to be aware that the issue of retrial, as far as lawyers, well, let me say prosecutors and the judiciary are concerned, has nothing to do with emotion. It has nothing to do with who the accused is. It has to do with the seriousness of the offense, the public interest, how perhaps expensive it may be to mount the retrial. It doesn't even have to do with what the likely verdict may be, but it has to do with a number of factors which have been outlined in what we would call the locus classicus from the Privy Council in a case called Dennis Reed.
DPP Paula Llewellyn, Director of Public Prosecutions, she was speaking on Nationwide Jamaica on Monday morning. Hearing all of this, we reached out to Anguilla's attorney, Nakishma Rogers, who is our legal analyst right here on THG News Today. Good morning, Nakishma. Welcome to THG News Today. What are your thoughts in all of this?
As I would have indicated last week, the Court of Appeal now has the uncomfortable decision of determining whether or not there should be a retrial in this matter. I am surprised that the DPP is requesting a retrial in this matter. I don't know what the state of her case is or what she thinks the state of her case is at this point. She's obviously in a better position than I am to make that determination. But what I can say is that one of the issues the Court of Appeal will have to contend with is whether or not a retrial at this stage would be fair in the circumstances. And I'm almost certain the defense will argue that having successfully raised certain issues with the way evidence was procured and those issues being pointed out by the Privy Council as affecting their decision in quashing the conviction, I am hard-pressed to see how a retrial, what that would look like with regards to the evidence, particularly against Adidja Palmer. But the question for the Court of Appeal essentially is whether it would be fair. So at this point, 10 years later, is the defendant in a position to advise counsel, instruct counsel? Does he remember the facts? Does he remember certain events? What is his recollection going to be like several years later? And there have already been a lot of decisions on this matter in terms of the time frame in which matters should be dealt with before the court for it to be considered fair and constitutional. And so there's a very high likelihood that the Court of Appeal would decide at this stage that a retrial would be unfair. And if that is the case, then obviously this would be over and done with. But I maintain my previous opinion in this matter that a retrial is unlikely. And if she were to actually proceed with a retrial, it's even more unlikely that the result is going to be the same for several reasons. And we could always go into those in a separate interview. But it's a shocking development in this case, but I don't think it changes the trajectory.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers, Nakishma Rogers, for that. It is a pleasure to have you here, as always, to give us your legal perspective on matters that may be complicated to us. Yeah, so thank you again and see you soon. We now move to St. Kitts. Former tourism minister and social commentator Dwyer Astaphan has sounded the alarm by suggesting that there are up to 8,000 people on the public payroll. What an astonishing figure, especially when he broke it down to what's costing the federal government daily, monthly, yearly. Let's give a listen to Mr. Astaphan.
I don't have the exact figure, but I am told that there are over 7,000, maybe as many as 8,000 people, including step workers, who are on the public payroll, which is close to $25 million a month or $300 million a year or over $800,000 a day. And the number of persons on the public payroll and the size of the payroll have been astronomically high for years, not going down, as successive administrators have demonstrably failed to provide sufficient economic and social development opportunities, which will create more business and more jobs in the private sector. And not just more business and more jobs, but good business and good jobs And these politicians who over the years have beaten their chests and boasted of how much they can and will do for the country have, as I just said, demonstrated their failure to get that first step of success achieved. And that first step is ensuring that the public service is professional, efficient, and operated cost effectively. Why do the rules of economics apply to everything else but the public service? That is the cornerstone of government programs. If the cornerstone is weak, then you know what will happen. So we've seen over the decades a massive failure, and a country whose public service is little more than a job subsidization program and a menial tool of the governing party, that country is either a disaster or a coming disaster. We cannot afford this.
This is absolute nuts. This is not sustainable. One day the bottom will fall out. And I agree with Mr. Astaphan when in the audio somewhere he stated that this did not just start. This has been happening for years now. And the numbers keep building each day. Almost 8,000 people on St. Kitts government's payroll. That's almost the population of Nevis. My goodness. What's happening in Barbados? Prime Minister Mia Mottley presented her government's 2024 budget, outlining the strategies to boost the economy and to spur growth. For more than 4 hours in a wide-ranging address, she touched on a number of measures. One of the most important questions around budget time is whether or not there'll be new taxes. Thanks to CBC Barbados for this clip by Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Let's give a listen.
In order to put you into a listening mood, let me say as early as I did last year, there will be no new taxes. But I am telling you up front that I will warn you that there will be some adjustments during the course of this year of a few rates that we will need the public to be able to bear if our services that depend on those rates are to keep up with the kind of service that Barbadians want.
That was the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley. The growing list of Americans in Haiti who have reached out to the United States government was nearing 1,000 names on Tuesday, the State Department said, as the Caribbean nation struggles with rampant gang violence, political instability, and an escalating humanitarian crisis. More than 30 U.S. citizens were on a flight which left from Cap Haitien, a city on Haiti's north coast, before landing Sunday at Miami International Airport, the State Department said. The department urged Americans to consider the flight only if they could reach Cap Haitien safely. Travel to the city is dangerous, it warned. The crisis in Haiti intensified earlier this month as criminal gangs began wreaking coordinated havoc, security sources said, emptying once bustling streets and leaving necessities, including food, medicine, and gas, in short supply. In Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, more than 100 miles from Cap Haitien, the airport is shuttered and under siege by gangs who are fighting with police in that area. The gangs have taken control of 80% of Port-au-Prince, according to UN estimates. And that is what is happening there on Haiti, where Americans are scrambling and they just want to get out. And the U.S. Department, State Department, of course, their first interest. Their main interest is not Haiti. Their main interest, of course, will be American citizens. And out of St. Lucia, tragedy struck in Soufriere on Tuesday morning as an alleged dispute between a father and son ended into a fatal outcome. The incident, which unfolded in the community of New Development, has left one man dead and another in police custody. The father, that's the one left dead, and the son, of course, he is in police custody. Adding to St. Lucia's homicide toll, which now stands at 21 for the year. According to reports, the confrontation between the individuals escalated, leading to the introduction of a cutlass into the altercation. Upon arrival at the scene, medical personnel, the first responders, they tried their very best to resuscitate the father, but their efforts failed. He was pronounced dead. I'm not sure. People are just angry nowadays. And as I said in the previous broadcast news segment, if you just watch somebody too hard nowadays, they wanna take you out. You can't disagree. You can't have civil conversations. You can't have a respectable disagreement, or else they're gonna take you out just like that, or try something. You have so many bitter, angry people around the place, cold-hearted criminals. I mean, come on. I was about to read you a story in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but I'm not going to do that. But basically, another story where a mother, I don't know if she's going through depression, and I don't know what it is. She and her daughter, her 13-year-old daughter, got into an argument over her cell phone, and the mother just took a taser. I'm not sure why a taser is in the room, at their home, but the mother took a taser, and it's just... Now she's arrested and charged for, what did they say she's charged for? She's now charged, because of that, she's now charged with child abuse, parental neglect, disturbing the peace, and using a dangerous weapon during a crime of violence. She was also charged with third-degree assault and aggravated assault, both as crimes of domestic violence. And she'll be appearing in court on April the 5th. Yeah? Just an argument with her daughter, and all those charges now against her. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our news for this morning. Our news, of course, is brought to you with the kind of compliments, the platinum sponsorship of Carl & Sons on St. Martin. I would also like to thank Vybz on Nevis. And of course, if you have not already, I ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll just grow together, build together, get better and better here on THG News Today. Enjoy your Wednesday. God bless. I am Mervyn Hanley.
Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Vybz, the cozy spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Vybz, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They're also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best. Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Martin for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are two locations, Colbay and on the Pondville. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Pondville, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you.